Storybook Brawl was nice enough to send me some dust codes, so I'm doing another giveaway. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win. What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today we are going to be taking a look at a Geppetto game that makes great use of the treasure Reduplicator, and this one winds up being a lot of fun because I don't typically love Reduplicator. I think that it does have some use with like Tweedledee and Dwarf comps, but a lot of times in summon comps, it's a little bit tricky to make work because summon comps are already so tight for space on the board, and it winds up being totally random what you wind up reduplicating because if you're summoning things, you're summoning multiple things, and you don't really have that much control over what you are summoning twice. So it's a little bit hard to get value from this treasure, but we wind up getting some pretty sick value from it by the end of this game. So that is going to be really sweet. Unfortunately, we do lose our combat on turn 2 to Peter Pants, but we're really close to grabbing this treasure from Cindy, and a Shrink Ray will allow us to complete it. From there, I grab a great library card. Definitely a favorite treasure of mine. It can allow for some really spicy things once you oh no, it's not a cookbook. It's a library card. Hold on, I gotta think of a different pun then. I've learned that the Great Library card is good. No, because I always knew it was good. It's really great because it lets you pick up a bunch of XP a whole lot easier and can just ultimately contribute to some really powerful games. So unfortunately, down to 32 after a few slightly awkward combats here. We were pretty likely to win that one, but just did not work out well for us. And then I'll wind up picking up a donkey and a crafty alongside a candy rain. I pick up the donkey because we've got the baby root already to support it, so that seems pretty sweet. I'm gonna be honest, I actually totally forgot this game that I was even playing Geppetto. Like, I think I played this game pretty late at night and don't wind up realizing that I'm playing Geppetto until like a few turns. And maybe it was the library card that threw me off and made me like forget about that fact. But either way, we're going to be doing fine against the tiger here. Like, I'm just not picking up any summon related things, but the donkey is a summon related thing. Maybe somewhere in my brain I knew that it would be good to make this donkey start to summon, but yeah, it just wasn't like totally active at the front of my mind. And then ultimately we're going to pick up the Brave Princess here and slot that into slot 5, and that should be pretty good for us. And then maybe here's where I realize, yeah, because the donkey's going to spawn something, and I'm like, wait, how did we get a 5/4 mummy? And then that's right, okay, I'm playing Geppetto. That's me remembering that I'm playing Geppetto there. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. But Geppetto is definitely going to push us more into the summons route of things, and ultimately will be one of the reasons that we are trying to make the Reduplicator work. So we're going to pick up a free roll and a stag this turn. Not much else, unfortunately. The stag is a pretty nice power spike, but we won't really find anything else in the shop. But next turn, we'll be level 4, and that's where some really sweet stuff can come out of the summons comp. So we are looking forward to that. Up against a 42 health beauty, looking pretty strong. We get to take out one of their supports though, and then we get to summon some nice stuff with the donkey. Looks like Brave Princess will get the sleigh, but it won't get to stick around, and we will take a little bit of damage, but only a really little bit of damage. I think that I can work with that. And then here we get to actually start to play some summons. We see a hippocampus. That's pretty great. Definitely going to want to pick that one up first. And then we also have a Time Flies. That is quite good. And we could even consider this Black Cat. I'm over the what was it called? Brave Princess at this point in the game because it just only had one sleigh. We're 4.0. We'll figure out some better stuff. I want to play these baby roots in the back line, and I want to play this donkey as well and the hippocampus. So I think that we're just rocking with this and not worrying about the Brave Princess. But pretty strong 4.0 for a Geppetto that wants to play summons. We're actually going to start to summon some things now. So we'll try to start to scale this hippocampus up as much as possible. And hippocampus is always kind of an interesting unit because it's really strong in, you know, the early mid portion of the game. It can fall off a little bit sometimes. Awkwardly, yeah, donkey's always a weird one too, because sometimes it is just like your other things don't die and then there's nothing that you can do with it. So that's a little bit awkward. It does summon a black cat for us, so that's actually pretty cool. Allows us to take out the prized pig with the fact that we are Geppetto. So do love that. I'll pick up another hippocampus, and now I'm gonna try to go full summons at this point. And here's where like the donkey starts to look really weird because everything's summoning, so the donkey is just like super unlikely to summon because everything is like going to be dead or going to still be around. The opposite of dead is going to still be on the board. And I don't wind up picking up the vulture. I just don't think that it is strong enough, but wind up rolling into not the black cat. That's not the part that I'm excited about in this shop. I mean, I'll play it, I'll pick it up, grab a tier 2 treasure, but I'm excited about the XP. I feel like we are really strong at this point in the game. Needle nose daggers is only going to make us stronger, and I think we should be able to win this Wish Upon a Star pretty easily. I'm also going to do something a little bit funky here, doing a lot of move arounds, and ultimately, I don't know why I decide on this as my ordering, but it's totally fine. It's really tough to get the stag attack at this point in the game because we are also going to be summoning the time flies. So ultimately that's just a little bit wonky. Oh, that's why I moved things around. So I didn't want Black Cat to be my last unit because then it's going to deny us one of those cat spawns. And you can see we got all 4 summons from the cat skull, which the main thing other than just hitting my opponent for 4 more damage is also going to provide a little bit more scaling on our hippos. So that's really strong for that reason as well. And then this turn, I will pick up the Vulture. I think that the Vulture is good now because we really want to win this combat. So it's worth the 4 gold, basically spending 4 gold to ensure we get that extra XP, in addition to just making us stronger for this turn. And yeah, again, probably not getting the stag to attack, but ultimately looking quite strong here. There is a slightly different ordering you could play. You could switch the donkey with the larger hippocampus, and that way the stag is pumping up the donkey, and the frontline hippocampus is pretty likely to survive with the 33 health, but ultimately this is just what I go for, the safer play with both hippocampuses backlined here. It means we're going to get nothing out of the donkey, but that's totally fine. We've got 2 large hippocampuses, and actually we might lose this one. My opponent is looking pretty big, and yeah, we do wind up losing this combat. So no bonus XP, and we lose our needle nose daggers. A little bit awkward, but we can definitely still recuperate and get back into this game. Another Vulture isn't bad, and then like I said, we can frontline the hippocampus with that, so we do have a little bit more room on this board than it might initially seem. Stag not really doing anything, could replace that with the pigs, and just to get a little bit more units on here. I don't think that that is the craziest idea in the world, so going to wind up selling off the donkey, but I do change my mind and ultimately decide that that is not what I want to do. I think that there are better things that I can be spending my gold on, and I'm never the biggest fan of the pigs, because again, it's like a positioning thing. How do you find the room to play all of those units? Interestingly, the stag might be worse than just playing the 3/4 goat here, but I'm going to wind up just playing the goat or playing the stag and throwing that into slot 1, so that way it can at least attack and give us a little bit more stats here. So that's the plan, and my opponent with a court wizard comp, frontline court wizard, backline court wizard, and they take out all of our summons. We do grab their court wizard first, so no bonus attack for that one, but they will have bonus attacks on their backline court wizard, and ultimately we'll lose that combat as well. But here we get to pick up a hippocampus triple, and interesting options here. I think we probably have to go for Fool's Gold going into 6.0 to just give us a little bit more coin. But it's also awkward because then we're not making use of the library card. So none of these treasures are particularly great for us, and I'm just going to wind up skipping. I really want Summoning Portal or Reduplicator on this comp because those are the summon comps that are, or the summon treasures rather, that are on tier 4. And then we could Cat's Call, but we're playing up against the Ghost, so don't really need to do that either. It could be like interesting scaling, and for that reason I just wind up going for it rather than like rolling and trying to do something on 5.2. We'll just worry about what we're gonna do next turn, and we were running low on time there anyways, and looks like my opponent had no units, so didn't ultimately really wind up mattering. But now we are 6.0. We still have a little bit of XP over the rest of the lobby, so now we really want to find that Bear Stain and start to do some strong stuff with that. But Hercules is also a wonderful pickup here because Stag isn't really doing too much for us, so we'll pick up that Hercules, and then I'm just going to buy a golden chicken to end the turn to give a little bit more stats to the Hippocampus. I do think that the Hippocampus is strong. For this point in the game, we'll definitely be looking to cut the vultures and add some bear stains to this board, because we have a bunch of summons, but we don't really have anything pumping those summons up. Like we need like a Sporko or something to give them a little bit more attack. Maybe we could find something off the Hercules. We're really just relying on the Geppetto hero power at this point, which is strong, but we're definitely going to need a little more oomph to get us over that hump here. Luckily, the Hippocampus is still quite large. I think that's going to be enough to let us do battle here against the Court Wizard, and it will eventually take it down. So we bring my opponent down to 3. And now I'm thinking that Croc Bait on the Hippocampus is probably the way to go. And we haven't yet found the Reduplicator, but this is what is going to be what allows us to really take advantage of the Duplicator. Just going to wind up rolling down on the rest of the turn, and then we will see what happens here. But I do want to also put the Hippocampus in the front of my comp because I still want it to see other animals die. And that's kind of an interesting tidbit about putting a Hippocampus in a Croc. It can still scale. Things that are in your Croc, like Hercules, can still build towards their quest. And yeah, it still is like the actual unit in there. So when we summon it, if we're then able to give it permanent boosts, it will retain those boosts in future fights. So that's something that is really important to know. So you can see this turn 124 Hippocampus and now up to 128. So 124, that's the number to remember though. After the Geppetto buff, we'll see that it is bigger next turn even. And we are going to wind up getting a win against the Sadrak, a really close fight. Unfortunately, the tracker is not going to show us any more stats from this point because we are playing with the Croc spell, but we can still see that that was a very close one. I'll pick up the Vulture and the Reduplicator here, and here's where things get really awkward because I now want to make it so that the Croc is my first thing to die, because then I'm going to summon multiple Hippocampuses out of this Croc. So that's the plan. Just going to Candy Rain from there, and then still looking for Bear Stains or other payoff cards. I do wind up finding a Bear Stain here, and it's actually with just enough time. I can sell off 4 things here still. Going to hang on to the Time Flies and sell the Black Cat to pick up the Bear Stain, and I guess it will be a little bit tough to see the 124 being increased on the Hippocampus, but you'll see it briefly, and then it'll double up from the Bear Stain. And now we're getting double Hippocampuses, so this can be really good. Yeah, 132 up to 136, and then those numbers get doubled, and the Hippocampuses are really strong. And important to know that order there. We do get double Hippocampus and single Time Flies, but the Time Flies is also a little bit awkward because if Hercules gets attacked first, then we get 2 Time Flies instead of getting 2 Hippocampuses. So this is all very delicate, and for that reason I might not even want the Time Flies in a summons comp, which seems very backwards, very weird, but it might be how we have to play it. I do wind up picking up this Time Flies though, I think, and I think I realized that later, that the time flies are just awkward, but they're so good with the bear stain that I wind up picking them up, and then from here I wind up grabbing a Medusa. And Medusa could be a little bit awkward for us too, because now that could die first. I do think that Copycat could be sweet with the Croc as well. Use the Copycat to summon additional hippos. And I think that that's fine. Oh, I do wind up selling the time flies here. Okay, great, great, great. So now we don't have to worry about that. I thought I remembered selling them off, and then I guess I am locking here for Copycat. I honestly, I don't remember that part of the game because it's a little bit risky, a little bit awkward. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to pick up the Medusa, give us a little bit of a scam, and then focus on creating huge hippos. And these hippos are going to be big enough to win us this fight as well. We aren't going to get the treasure from Hercules, unfortunately, but the hippos are just scaling and getting bigger and bigger, and that's basically the whole comp. Reduplicator hippos doing some fun stuff for us. Hercules is really, really close to completion, but still a little bit far away. So hopefully we can get that done, and we will be up against the ghost this turn, so we do have some flexibility in terms of rolling and picking up something sweet for this board. And ultimately, I don't even remember what I do this turn. Oh, go for the Mask Ball, and we do wind up finding an Echowood here. Okay, I love that. Echowood is going to get a bunch of stats from the reduplicated hippo doubled up with the bear stain and the Geppetto and all that stuff. So we're definitely all in on this reduplicator comp at this point. Pretty silly, but it's a lot safer now that we've tossed the time flies. There is a chance that like the baby bear could get attacked into first or something, so maybe that's the next thing to go. But I think, you know, we don't want to play it with just the hippocampus being our only summon here, and clearing the way for these hippos to spawn in. That's going to make two huge hippos. Echowood goes up to 37,357. Not the biggest Echowood in the world. We've definitely seen bigger, but it's still pretty cute to grab all of these stats out of a reduplicator, and then we're able to finish off my opponent's pumpkin and win against the ghost here. And now we're on to the finals. We still have not activated this Hercules, but I'm going to go for a Drink Me potion here on what could be the final turn of the game and see if we can get anything else nice to happen on this turn. I wouldn't hate the idea of like picking up some more scam, potentially replacing this baby bear. I rolled past the first Cupid. I don't really like Cupid because my opponent's on Court Wizard. It's not really that good. Court Wizard attacks, kills a royal, and then all of the Court Wizards trigger, so it's not exactly what I want. I really want another Medusa potentially, and I think that's like really it. Other than Bear Stain and Echowood, I would obviously take either of those things as well, but here we see another Medusa. Going to wind up rolling past that, and then ultimately not picking up anything this turn, just trying to roll for Bear Stain and Echowood predominantly here. We are going to get our treasure from Hercules, so that's pretty sweet, and then we are going to get our reduplicated double hippos in the action. My opponent with some very large Court Wizards though, so this combat is going to be a little bit awkward. We're going to trigger both of those Court Wizards here, and then I believe, once more. So just comes down to this Echowood, and it's a close fight. Actually winds up being a tie, really close one, and then we get to pick up a tier 6 treasure. So here I think we probably just want to take Singing Sword. It's pretty good with Bear Stain, and just would give us a whole bunch more hippos at this point. But yeah, again, like the summon comp's just a little bit awkward because I don't want to frontline this baby bear. I really want the hippos to be the thing that I spawn 2 of. So ultimately that is going to be a little bit weird for us, but I do think Lightning Dragon is pretty good scam here, especially with the plus 15 attack. There's a lot we can do with that. And then I'm just going to go for a Fog. We just have to win one combat, right? And then I'm going to wind up picking up another Medusa, and I'll switch my 2 Medusas so that way my frontline one has 15 attack, my backline one has the 6 attack. They're both going to be able to slay, and I think this is pretty good. However, we get a little bit unlucky here. We Fog the same court wizard that we attack into. It didn't really matter because they both went up to 26 health, so ultimately we would have been just short regardless there, but we are doing okay here, honestly. We scam one of their royals so their court wizards don't get bonus attacks, but their units are really, really large, and we actually wind up losing this combat. Really close game overall. We're going to have to do a little bit more on the scam side of things. We see another Echo Wood here, and I think that that is pretty good just in terms of increasing our overall power. It does mean we're going to have to frontline both of our Medusas, but ultimately I think can still be strong for us. I wind up putting a Potion of Heroism on the Lightning Dragon. Ultimately, that isn't actually going to be enough though, because the Court Wizards are going to grow again up to 28 this turn. But then I True Love's Kiss the Hercules and wind up getting an upgraded Bear Stain on the final turn. So that is really, really sweet for us, and ultimately I'm going to decide to play this Medusa over the Lightning Dragon, which is a good call because Lightning Dragon would not have done enough, and we are a little bit risky with the frontline Echo Wood. I wasn't sure which of my units I wanted to frontline, but I figured I would just play the backline Bear Stains and hope that the Echo Wood died, or the Croc died before the Echo Wood died. So luckily this is going to wind up working out well for us. We have the Medusas do a bunch of work, and then the Reduplicator makes a massive Echo Wood for us in the end, along with that upgraded Bear Stain that we find on the last turn. So really sweet game. I thought it was fun in a lot of ways, both like building the scams to play into my opponent's comp. We had the great library card to get that bonus XP, and then also just really making great use of Reduplicator, which is a treasure that I don't play with all too often. So ultimately a pretty unique comp and a whole bunch of fun with only one summon. Typically you play a bunch of summons with Hippocampus, but this time Hippocampus was our main squeeze. Here's the details for my giveaway this week. Just leave a comment below that includes the word good on any of my videos. New week, new code word, and you'll be entered into a chance to win a 4,000 dust code. The reason that I say to include the word, that way I can differentiate between the people just leaving a comment and those that are actually interested in the dust, to make sure that it goes to a person that will appreciate it. And there's no limit to how many times you can enter. You can go back and comment on some of my previous videos. I've been uploading daily Storybook Brawl videos for the past 7 or 8 months at this point, so I'm sure there is some sweet content that you have yet to see. And yeah, you can enter multiple times. I will do a new code next week. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that if a bunch of people enter, I will give away more codes. So that's just going to be limited by how many people are entering and how many people are commenting. Let's get this channel to over 1,000. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.